Hey, what it do, y'all? What it do? What it do? Just been listening to some of this game talk, and y'all know I'm not really big on talking about game at my channel, but nevertheless, I still try to understand the game per se, even though I don't play the game. And I think just based on my observations, every now and then I can offer my insight into the game based on my perspective. So you'll probably see a couple of game based videos that I'm going to upload, literally like a game video games. Wow. See how that goes together? Yeah, man. Wow. Well, it's kind of interesting that, and I'd say, shout out to Rosebud Bitter, and here's why. I mean, I know there's been some going back and forth between him and ARC and another guy named Steve. Like Steve's been going back and forth. Like him and Rosebud Bitter been kind of going after ARC. If you don't know who ARC is, that is Alan Roger Curry. So shout out to Alan Roger Curry as well. But basically, Steve and Rosebud been basically saying that ARC's Mode 1 just ain't the way to go. But before I get on that, my thing is once again, give a second shout out to Rosebud Bitter because of his name. Like really, that's kind of why, I mentioned him, I'm mentioning him so much because I want people to kind of see, a lot of people don't understand because we are here on YouTube and we talk about this whole blue pill, red pill, all this stuff. And we know all of this based on the whole Matrix ideology. And it all makes sense in many ways. For those who just don't acknowledge it, you're just basically part of the Matrix yourself. You have to acknowledge these things just as I acknowledge the game. That doesn't mean I play the game, but I acknowledge it. I acknowledge all this stuff. So, but his last name, Rosebud Bitter, dose of the red pill. You see? So it's like, well, he's just going to give you the bitter dose. Well, he can give you the bitter dose of whatever type of pill he wants to. I just wanted y'all to see that. I just thought it was so dope. So that's why I wanted to bring his name up and give him as many shout outs as I did because it's like, the Matrix, the game, all of it is the same. If you really look at it through the right lenses, you know? But I just really wanted to bring this up, and obviously you see the title of this video, so here's where I'm at with it in many ways and why I am at this place. There's just definitely too much game being talked about. And the last time I checked based on the field, because yours truly used to know about the field, I used to know about the field, but the game is to be sold, not to be told. And what I mean by the field is I wasn't really like in the field. I just knew people that were in it and they wanted me to be a part of it. But, I had a different direction in my life that I needed to go in as a young man. So in essence, I just knew I was like a protege, let's put it that way. And that's just more or less to put a disclaimer out there, so that people know that I wasn't involved in any type of activities. It's just that I'm putting this all together for this video because I want people to really see my broader perspective about this, because this really affected why I wanted to go down this different lane in my life when I was younger and why I chose not to be in the field in the first place, because you think about the field, the Matrix, the game, it's all the same. I just want y'all to think about that too. Now, there's just too much game being talked about. And like I said, last time I checked, the game is supposed to be sold, not told. So there should be a price on the game if somebody's trying to know about the game. It's that simple. And I think it needs to get back to that. I think that it's cool. You know, you see a lot of people hearing about some of this stuff on YouTube. But here's the thing. We talk about female nature a lot too. And what do you think females are doing? They're studying. Because it's just like what the great Pimp C said at the time. You know, a lot of these chicks, they don't know nothing. They learn as they go. They pretty much learn based on what they find out. This ain't something that was within them, you know? And I think that a lot of fellas got to keep that in mind as far as like, if you're going to be part of this game, you shouldn't be putting the game out there for free like that. And of course, from my perspective, I'm all about trying to be beneficial. I'm all about trying to help people. And that's really one of the other reasons why I'm putting this video out there. Because another thing I realize is that when everybody's arguing about who's right or who's wrong, is mode 1 good or is it too out of date? Is it something that can be applicable to today's dating scene? All this stuff. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think more or less it's just what works best in that situation, if that's the type of game you're going to play, if you're going to be part of that game. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, and that's coming from yours truly based on, you know, just some of the things that I know. I don't think you could put a right or wrong answer on it. I think that you just got haters. I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But why criticize another guy for the fact that maybe mode 1 does work for him? You know, because mode 1, it's supposed to represent direct approach. It's supposed to represent that. And I'm going to talk about why I put that clause in there. Supposed to. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video that talks about mode 1 in itself. So I'll be talking about mode 1 in another video. But mode 1 is supposed to represent direct approach or cold approach or however way you want to look at it. But, you know, you got people who argue that, no, it's about the indirect approach. But see, that's the problem. You're arguing that. I think it just depends on the situation, okay? And living in this climate of Me Too really highlights that. You can't always be direct, but maybe there are some days where you can be direct. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just different strokes for different folks depending on the situation. I think a lot of the indirect things come from, you know, you deal with people who want to pay to play. So that's indirect. Direct is, you know, you just go for the gusto. But I'll talk more about what I mean by all of this in a separate video about my thoughts on mode 1, you know. But I just wanted to put a little quick video out there, even though this is a little longer than I expected, but it's just things that I really had in mind as far as there's just too much game being talked about publicly. So while everybody's talking about all the game they got and all this stuff, you got these females who are taking notes. Now women, because I make the difference between female and women, the women ain't like that. They ain't taking notes like that. The only thing they're really doing is studying the man in their life. They're not trying to take notes on the game. They're studying the man that's in their life, you know. That's the only studying they're doing. They're not out here trying to take notes on how to learn the game that these guys are playing against them and how they can up the game. Because see, what happens is when you're talking about things like mode 1, or if you think that tricking is better, or however way you want to put at it, you got a female out there who's not a real woman who's taking notes as to how they can usurp your counter strike, because that's all you're doing is a counter strike. Okay, her strike was she rejected you. So your counter strike is whatever game you're using against her, given the game she used on you. But she's taking notes on that counter strike because she's going to come up with a counter strike. And then as you can just see, it goes back and forth. It's kind of like a basketball game. You shoot on one court, then you take the ball back and you try to shoot your score on the other side of the ball court. That's all it is. And that's all this really is to me. And I just think, to me, if it's going to be like that, y'all need to start selling more front seat tickets. Y'all need to have more VIP sections. Don't let people come in the Coliseum for free. Signing out.